So today, guys, I've got a fun install for you. It's going to be a little bit different of a video because I'm doing a little bit of work on the Mini and a little bit of work on the exocet. So it's going to be a twofer. And today, we're installing Nitrous. Because of course we are. So if anybody knows me, you know that I fill nitrous bottles for other people. And, you know, I got this motor station here and I do a lot of nitrous stuff. Love putting nitrous in cars. It works great. It's cheap. Good power, it's addictive, of course, and we're putting in the Mini. So first up on the agenda, basically, I got some bigger solenoids here. They're gonna be going on the exocet because the exocet already has a nitrous kit on it, which I'm gonna be covering the exocet. We'll be doing some videos later on. But for right now, it's still too cold outside to really go drive this thing here where I'm at. So once it gets a little bit warmer, I'll be doing some, driving videos and, kind of an overview since I didn't do any videos on the build on that. But for the moment, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be upgrading the nitrous kit on the exocet because currently the solenoids are maxed out. They were maxing out at like 125 shot, not quite 125. It was like a little bit less than that. And the nitrous solenoid was totally maxed out. So what I'm doing is I'm going to be putting these bigger solenoids on there. I've got a bigger nozzle. We're going to put that on the exocet, and then after getting this all situated on there, I'm going to take the remainder of the parts and put them on the Mini. So basically just reusing parts. I've got a bunch of nitrous shit laying around, so it just kind of works out. I took a whole nitrous kit out of my LS swapped 911 that I had that I sold, so I've got a bunch of that stuff. So yeah, let's get to it. So before I take this nitrous kit off of the exocet, you can kind of see, how I have it ran. It's a Mainline Nitrous Express nitrous kit, pretty basic, cheaper kit. Basically, it's the full Mainline kit, and then the things that I changed out is because I don't have enough room for a 10-pound bottle. I've been running a 5-pound bottle, which I got from Cold Fusion, and then I've got an NOS. White up, one of the window switches, and I've got that ran with I've got a button on the steering wheel for the main activation, and then basically I got the switch over there to turn it on. I've got a heater, bottle heater, then I've also got the main switch to activate it. So if you look at these solenoids, they're really small. This is like their basic entry-level kit, and so I bought these bigger upgraded these bigger solenoids from Cold Fusion. And look how much bigger that solenoid is compared to these ones. And that was basically the problem, is that these solenoids are restrictive. There's not enough nitrous going through here. I didn't have too much of a problem with fuel. It was just the nitrous. There wasn't enough going through. So putting these big solenoids on there should definitely solve the problem. But I've got to figure out how I'm going to bracket these because these are tremendously heavier than these little guys. And before I just had this little bracket holding on to this carbon fiber intake, and I don't know if I necessarily trust that for something this heavy, so I need to come up with a new bracket situation. So I'm gonna take these off of here, and then I'm gonna start figuring out what to do about a bracket. So you guys can see, you can kind of see this here. It's really handy to have an exocet because your tires become tool holders. It's a good seat. It's great. It's right out in the open. You can just get to everything. There's nothing in the way. It's fantastic. Okay, so you can see here the two different kits that I've got that I'm working with. So this is that Mainline kit that pulled off the exocet like I was talking about. So this one here, the nitrous solenoid is a 78, and it comes with 3 AN lines, and it comes with their Piranha nozzle, okay? Now the ones that I'm going to be using are these Cold Fusion solenoids. The nitrous solenoid is a 125. So it's gonna support a lot more nitrous flow than the other one. Obviously, you can see the difference, it's twice as big. The opening on it is also bigger, so it's, overall it's going to be a million times better. Now, like I was saying before, this one right here, I was only able to spray, you know, a little less than a 125 shot, and I was having problems with a nitrous solenoid, was just maxed out. It would not flow any more nitrous. So this one here should do plenty of what I need to do. I mean, depending on your look, it's, you know, it's rated anywhere from, I've seen 350. I also saw in like one of the kits like 600, which I don't necessarily believe that, but you know, it is what it is. So this one, in any case, I mean, with the line size I have, because I'm only running a 4AN line to the bottle, so in general, it should support, you know, everything I'm trying to do, because I'm realistically only trying to turn it up a little bit. But I mean, with the line size I have, you know, it might flow up to a 250, maybe a 200, but we're not planning on turning it up that high. In any case, so these solenoids, and then we've got, so these lines are upgraded also. These are the 4AN lines, so they're bigger than these ones. And then I've also got the Nitrous Express Shark nozzle, which is capable of flowing a lot more nitrous than this Piranha nozzle. So overall, this kit is going to be a pretty big upgrade for the exocet. Now, I'm going to be putting all of these fittings together. And one thing to keep in mind when you're working with nitrous, if you don't already know, you don't put Teflon on the fittings. You don't do it, because those little strands, even the tiniest pieces, they can get sucked into the solenoids, they can get into the jets, they can screw a lot of stuff up, they can jam things up, so you don't want that. So what the recommended thing is, you're going to want to use just some thread locker. Usually I like to use the blue. It's lighter stuff that we can still pull it apart. But I'm going to throw these together, and then we're going to start putting it on the car. Okay, so I pulled the intake pipe off of the exocet, and as you can see here, the two nozzles are drastically different on the threads. I actually had a grommet in here for that smaller one. It worked really well, but now this one, it like almost just wants to thread into how big that is because it's so much bigger. So I'm gonna need to drill this out, and I'm gonna put a grommet in there that'll work with this one. I just prefer the grommet approach as opposed to like threading them in, because if you end up taking your jets in and out a bunch, it wallers these holes out, and then they get all screwed up. The alternative to that is you could have a fitting welded on here, but since I don't know how to weld aluminum, I don't have the capabilities to weld aluminum, I'm gonna do it this way. All right, that should work pretty well. It's in there pretty solid. Hell yeah. Okay, so at the moment, I think I'm gonna end up running them back here, because that's just, I have these lines are kind of longer. They're a lot longer than the other ones. I think this will still work out, because I've got, you know, I can just bring the slack back in and pull this back through for the main nitrous line. I've got a bunch of spooled up under the seat anyway. And then this other, the fuel line, which is right here, is pretty long, but it's okay because I actually ordered a line that I thought was going to be too small for the Mini, but I think this will actually work perfect for here, because then I can just run it from there straight to that fuel solenoid, and that'll work out really well, because then I'll have a longer line for the Mini. Okay, so here's the fuel line, that shorter fuel line on there. It's the fuel solenoid. And I think this is pretty much where I think I'm going to end up mounting this. I think that'll be the most ideal spot to get it out of the way. So I might end up making some sort of bracket that maybe bolts onto this coil bracket somehow. Haven't quite decided how I'm going to do it yet, but I'm going to figure it out. All right, so I'm doing a little bit of cardboard design here. I think this is what I've come up with. Mount it to that peg there, and then that little stud down there. I'll trim the cardboard back. Obviously, it's not going to be just a square that looks ridiculous, but I'll trim it so it looks nice. Drill some holes, that kind of stuff. We'll see how strong it is. I might add a reinforcement on the bottom, you know, maybe joining a couple of the legs together, and maybe joining it up to here, just because these are so heavy. Yeah, I'm going to start making it out of metal and see where we get with it. Okay, it's been a few days since I've worked on this, since I did this last cardboard cutout. But now I'm back at it, and I got it traced on there. We're gonna cut this out and start bending it up. Alright, so this is what I got figured out so far. Got it like kind of half-ass bolted on there. It's bolted on the bottom. I think I'm gonna trim some of the edges off so it's not just looking like a square, you know, round a bunch of shit, so it looks better. And then I'll throw some paint on it. Okay, so while the paint is drying on that bracket for the exocet, I'm gonna start working on the nitrous kit for the Mini Cooper. I'm gonna start with mounting the bottle, and I think right here behind the seat is gonna work just great, because I'm the type of person that I like to have the nitrous bottle close in hand so I can just turn it on real quick and get a race going. Okay, so I got the bottle mounted. It's in there nice and secure. Now I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run the main nitrous line through here, like kind of under the seat, and then I'm gonna run along here, through the firewall, and up to the engine bay. Okay, so for mounting the solenoids, this is kind of what I'm thinking right now. I think I'm just gonna bolt these over here, and then I'm gonna drill a hole somewhere in here for this, which it's not ideal. You're supposed to have it a little bit further away, ideally, but I don't really have a lot of room, and since I already drilled the hole for the intake temp sensor, I don't want to be too close to that, so I want to be a little bit in front of that. So I think somewhere in here, I think that'll work pretty good. So on this this particular part of this video, you'll notice I was a little contradictory because earlier I ran a grommet for the exocet, but on this one I threaded it. And the only reason I decided to do that, I kind of changed my mind, is just because this pipe diameter, like this wall thickness on this this aluminum pipe is actually really thick, and I was able to get a pretty good a tap. You know, it tapped out really well, so I think it's gonna hold pretty good. I put a little bit of Loctite on there too, so it's not going anywhere, but it's facing where I need it to go. And yeah, I'm just gonna clean it out a little bit and then throw it in the car and see where we're at. All right, I think that's gonna work out really well. I just kind of bridged the gap between these two, so not only does it, you know, provide me space for this, but if this thing decides it does want to come loose, it can't really turn. It's gonna get stuck on this, so that's a kind of a win-win there. This is all clearing pretty good. Got the nitrous line ran up over the transmission mount. Just need to run this fuel line to there, so I'm gonna take that nut off, put the new fitting in, and run that. That's not gonna work. I don't know if I grabbed the wrong fitting out of the box or if they sent me the wrong fitting. This is supposed to be 4AN and it doesn't fit, so I don't know what the hell. I'm gonna go look through the box I got. Okay, so yeah, it definitely turns out they sent me the wrong fitting, but I was digging through some boxes of, you know, stuff I've got. I don't really want to use this fitting, so I'm probably gonna order something else after the fact, but for the moment, this will work. It's a 6-to-4 adapter, so I can hook this up at least and then just order another fitting. Yeah, and put the correct one on later, but it'll work for now. All right, now the hard parts of the nitrous insulation are all in there. Everything's all good to go. That line it's got just enough slack that once I replace that fitting with the correct one, it'll still reach there. I'll have to zip tie this shit down, but I still need to put some jets in here. It's still loose, but yeah, other than that, I mean, it's in there. So now it's onto the wiring portion, but I think I'm gonna jump around a little bit, and that bracket is done on the exocet, so I'm going to finish working on that. All right, so here's the finished product on that bracket, all painted up, ready to go on. So it's time to get installing these nitrous solenoids. All right, got these all set up. All lines are hooked up and tight. Got the jets in. Got it all fastened down. I just need to wire this a little bit up, which will be really easy because obviously this was already wired for nitrous. So just a couple wires and I'll be done with this one. All right, all back together, all done. Got it all wired in. Ran some new flexible wire loom on there, so it looks nice again. Hell yeah, done with this one. I'll have to do some testing on this to figure out, you know, what I need for jets, but for the moment, it's just got the jets in it that it had. And yeah, so I mean, it's gonna be a little bit before I can get to testing this because it's still kind of cold outside. Maybe next weekend, I don't know, we'll see. But I guess back to the Mini Cooper. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out where I want to run this relay box because I picked up one of these Amazon relay boxes. They're a pretty nice unit, honestly, for the price. Like you get this whole box of like, get all the pins and like you get this lower cover and all the stuff for all these places, like for all these relays and fuses. And I was like, it's a really good deal. I just trying to figure out where to put it. And at the moment, there's like no room in this engine bay at all at this point because there's so much stuff in here. And the only place I can really think is to put it like right here-ish. So now I got to figure out if I'm going to put it here, how do I run, where am I going to run the wiring to, and how am I going to mount this box? So I'm trying to figure that part out now. Okay, so I decided I am going to put it here. I drilled a couple holes and kind of see that one. I'm going to have a spacer here to space this up a little bit. I've checked already. You can still get the cover on and off while it's in there. And it's down in there enough that I shouldn't have any hood clearance problems, so I should be all right. Okay, so I got the main terminal 30 positive all times ran. So I ran it off of this fuse box down through here. It's gonna go behind there into this. Right now it's kind of stretched. It'll relax a little bit once this is down where it's supposed to be, but I wanted to have enough slack so I could actually get to the back of this. But I ran 2 wires to the back of here. You can kind of see, so it bridged that whole terminal, so that whole terminal is going to be terminal 30 for those 4 fuses there, and then I'm going to have these 2 for terminal 15. So you get nitrous, and you get nitrous, you get nitrous. Everything's getting nitrous. But unfortunately, today, it's going to be it for this video. I ran out of time. I had so many different vehicles that I was working on at the same time, and I just kind of, I did as much as I could, but there's just not enough time in the day. It just really isn't. Obviously, you know, the K1 attack showed up, and, you know, it was really, you know, a big deal, and it took up, you know, a decent amount of my weekend. But I still, you know, tried to get back to, you know, working on the nitrous stuff that I had started, you know, on the exocet and whatnot, because obviously, you know, I started that like in the middle of the week when I started messing with it at the beginning of this video, and I just kind of had to put it on hold until I had some more time. And now that, you know, the exocet's done, it's ready to go. I can, you know, whenever it's nice, I can go out and do some test hits and see where we're at, and then turn it up, which is, you know, the whole goal of doing all of that. And the Mini Cooper, you know, it's, you know, bit by bit, we're getting there. I mean, realistically, there's not that much left to do. It's mostly just the wiring aspect, which is, you know, it's kind of tedious. It's, you know, a little boring, but it is what it is. So next time, hopefully next weekend, I can finish up all the wiring on this. I've got to put a bottle heater in here, also, just gonna be part of the wiring. I don't have one of those switches for the bottle heater. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to order one of those. But I think for the moment, I'll just hardwire it so it's just switches on, the heater's on, whatever it is. Which isn't the greatest idea in the world, but as long as you watch it, it's fine. So yeah, hopefully I can get the wiring done next weekend, and then I can make some test hits on Mini too. So maybe next weekend, if I can get those things done, it's supposed to be, looking at the weather report, it's supposed to be pretty nice next weekend. So I can maybe get some drive time out of maybe both cars and use a whole bunch of nitrous. Good thing I'm the guy that's filling them. But yeah, until next time, guys, peace out.